So we've been sort of carrying this around, and if there's anything that is quite unique, there is like this chance of being alone with yourself, totally alone. And I don't know, it sounds tacky when you say it, but you can be there in the environment, and suddenly you feel you're a part of something that's so much greater than you as a human being. So you can see if you sort of like, that's an experience you don't get in many places of the world. So we somehow wanted to represent this, or in a way, solitude or loneliness. This is so essential. And with these, in this tight space, 2 by 3 meters is not easy because you have a lot of external forces. But so basically, this little thing we do is like a metaphor for the landscape, but it's also to do with the traditional building material there. And also it's like a shield, because like in Iceland you have a lot of foreign influences, like, you know, everywhere in the world. We live in this world of globalization, and you cannot resist it. So it's like a shield to the outside. And the culture in Iceland, like everywhere, it has to take on and react to all the influence from the outside. And the copper actually does that. The patina is like a metaphor for the shield you take on all of the influences, and you react to it as a culture and as a country. But within that, there is still something really fundamentally off the place. So these were like, this is what led us into this direction. And then probably finally it's always the same connection with the universe. You always have this universal connection wherever you are in the world. So it always is like the same, a human being always has the same desires and aspirations everywhere, wherever it is. And it's like this relationship with the sky that's so important. But also these are like deep cracks in the landscape, and these places that you feel that nobody has been before you. This is that sort of an emotion that we wanted to try to capture in it, and without losing this volatility which is always around. So it's sort of like trying to capture many, many things together, but still doing it so that it's very quiet and it's very calm.
Well, I'd say the first thing is when you go to that site, and we went there on a rather gloomy day, and we see this slight rise in the land, you say, my goodness, isn't that a very nice slight rise in the land with this mountain ring and this ocean view and this volcanic plug out there in the middle of the fjord? How on earth can we put something there? Why can't we just do up the old house? Why just leave it alone? You know, let some sheep graze there or something like that. Okay, that's the first reaction. Then we start working on it, and the client is actually someone we've known for some time. We'd already done her house, or their house in Reykjavik, renovated it, so we had a pretty close relationship, and we were able to exchange opinions freely. That means that you're allowed to be irritated with one another, you're allowed to disagree with one another, and you're allowed to walk out of a meeting in a huff and then ring up in 2 days' time say, well, actually, you know, I still think you're wrong. And the discussion continues. It's a very, very nice arrangement. You can get a long way when you have a client like that. We spent about 2.5 years just designing the basic format of the house, how it should sit in the landscape, whether room should be here, whether room should be there, what views you should see when you're washing the dishes, what views you should see when you're playing the piano or playing with your kids or having a morning espresso, where the sun was in the sky, where people be approaching the house. All these things came into it. So in a way, the house was a collection of external forces as much as internal forces. So what you saw from the inside out was as important as what you saw from the outside in. And this created a rather curious assemblage of spaces that I think we collectively agree has produced a house that's not particularly pretty, it's not elegant, it's variably ugly depending on the angle that you look at it. But at the same time, it has a quality of being from the place. It actually is more of a geological form than a building. It's more something that has been carved from the land rather than placed on the land. And that also affected the way that the materiality was used. So some materials are indigenous. That's the rock that we have in the floor. We found that in the foundation where we were digging, and we got this columnar basalt and cut it into tiles on the floor and on paving. The walls are either made of concrete, which is as much as it gets an indigenous Icelandic material, but we also place that with Western red cedar, which is imported from the other side of the US. And on the roof we capped it with grass, which of course is just taken from the neighborhood field. So it's a curious collection of materials that in some ways go together and some ways don't in a natural sense, but actually when they come together they actually feel as though they're in harmony with one another. And this is what you have to do in Iceland. You have to take things from outside and choose them for their appropriateness, which might be a visual thing, it might be a colour thing, it might be something to do with their weight, or it might just be the fact that they're cheapest on the market. But you have to get all these factors into balance, and if you can get it right, the building just feels about right. And it's something that you don't really design, you more sense it. It just sort of comes together. And when the mix is right, it's like when you're making a cake, you put your finger and you lick it. You say, yeah, it needs a little bit more of this. And that's how we make our buildings, you know. Oh, didn't want that squint wall there. It was just too much. So we take that one away. We do something else instead. And that's how it happens.